After we got back together, Joel became unusually clingy. What he ate, what he drank, who he met, he had to report everything one by one. One day, he called, his tone probing. Jonathan brought a few girls and asked me to go to the hot springs. I said oh and told him to have fun. The call was hung up. 20 minutes later, he blocked the doorway, questioning hoarsely, "You're just going to let me go with other people?" I took a step back under his gaze. "Isn't this the sense of boundaries you wanted?" As the words fell, he froze in place. Chapter 1. Finished talking? If you're done, you can leave. I really don't mind. Afraid he might misunderstand, I thoughtfully added, "Don't worry, tomorrow at your parents' place, I'll cooperate properly." Joel's face instantly darkened. "Anna, damn, you really did this." He slammed the door and left. My sleepiness was completely gone after the commotion. I curled back into the blanket and scrolled through my phone. At 2 in the morning, an unfamiliar number sent several pictures. The young girl wore only a bikini, her pale body straddling Joel. Steam lingered in the air, his arm naturally wrapped around her waist, with only a thin piece of fabric between them. Sister-in-law, I'm afraid of water. So Joel helped me. I'm so envious that you have such a considerate husband. I stared at the screen and thought for a moment. Should I get up and go catch him cheating? But it's too late now. The driver is already off duty, and it's hard to get a car. Then, should I write a long rant condemning Joel? The weather is too cold. My hands might freeze. Maybe I should just copy one from our old chat records to deal with it. While scrolling, I somehow fell asleep. No wonder Joel never reads them. Once the emotions are removed, these texts are long and boring, quite sleep-inducing. Actually, the next day, New Year's Day, I returned to Joel's family's old residence. While talking with the elders, the doorbell suddenly rang. When I opened the door, the girl from last night's photos stood there shyly. She held a pair of men's underwear in her hand. "This was left at my place yesterday." The style was young and bold. There was only one man of the right age in this house. This scene felt so familiar. The year we got engaged. Another girl once came to the door like this. I went crazy, grabbed her hair, and threw her to the ground. Joel pushed me away and left with her without looking back, leaving me lying on the ground in disgrace. That night, the whole old residence was in chaos. No one had a good New Year. The elders said the new year shouldn't start badly. Sure enough, that year Joel and I fought the fiercest. The living room was quiet. It felt like everyone was waiting for my reaction. I immediately smiled and smoothed things over. My cousin, she grew up abroad. We celebrated New Year's Eve together last night. Joel's father breathed a sigh of relief, but Joel's mother looked suspicious. Really? 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 I pulled the girl in and closed the door. The last bit of hope in Joel's eyes fell away. Chapter 2. On the way back, I took the underwear out of my pocket and threw it to Joel. He stammered in explanation. "Last night wasn't what you think. That girl is Jonathan's sister, and I drank too much. Nothing happened." I tore open a disinfectant wipe and carefully cleaned my hands. "I'll get off here. Zoe asked me to play mahjong." Joel's Adam's apple moved, his voice softening. "I'll pick you up when you're done." "No need." I pushed the car door open. "You mind your business. I don't want to know what that underwear has been through. I'm just afraid of touching something dirty." After taking a hot shower at Zoe's house and changing into the new clothes she prepared, the suffocating feeling in my chest finally disappeared. Zoe watched Joel's car drive away. She raised her eyebrow and sized me up. "How did the battle go? One against how many? Why didn't you call me for backup?" I curled into the sofa. "Didn't fight. Driving away a man is a small matter. What if I scare away the god of wealth?" That New Year's Day, Joel's old family residence was in ruins, and several elders were so angry they were hospitalized. I lay on the cold ground. In the end, Zoe rushed over and stuffed my mud-covered body into her sports car. While turning the key, she didn't forget to tease me. "Came to Joel's house to fulfill your childhood dream? Rolling in the mud?" As soon as I opened my mouth, tears rolled down first. "Zoe, how did it become like this?" She panicked and hurried to wipe my tears, but had no answer. No one could have imagined that Joel and I would end up like that. After all, We were childhood sweethearts and had known each other since diapers. Back then, to get into the same university as him. I woke earlier than chickens, slept later than dogs, and used every ounce of strength I had. The day I received the admission letter, my mother clicked her tongue in amazement. If I had known you'd fight this hard for Joel, why did I spend so much money hiring famous tutors? Everyone believed that I, Anna, would be tied to Joel for life. But just when we finally grew up and no longer had to share street food from the same stall, he let go first. He hated how his family controlled his future, forcing him to give up his dream of music and return to inherit the company. This hatred reached its peak after I agreed to the engagement. Unfortunately, at that time I was only immersed in the joy of getting what I wanted and being with the one I loved. I didn't notice that the love in his eyes for me had long disappeared. After the engagement, he was rarely home. Every time I woke up, my phone would be filled with messages of concern from kind friends. Young Master Joel had spent a fortune on another model, hugged women at yacht parties, and even held a wedding for himself somewhere. Those messages were like mold in the rainy season, impossible to wipe away. I once hysterically questioned and went crazy, making it known to everyone. All it brought was Joel's deeper disgust. Can you have some sense of boundaries? If you're dissatisfied, go tell my mother to cancel the engagement. Zoe's precise comment, compared to husband and wife. Our relationship was more like rebellious mother and son, one desperately trying to escape, the other clinging tightly. I thought we would struggle like this for a lifetime, but while arguing, I suddenly grew tired. There's nothing a glance between best friends can't understand. Seeing how calm I was, Zoe asked softly, "So, what are you planning?" I took the warm water she handed me. That project in the UK, both my family and Joel's invested a lot. I plan to go there personally. How long? 3 years for now. She reluctantly wrapped her arm around my neck. Before you leave, let's have fun. Everything's on me. Don't worry. I smiled and leaned on her shoulder. You can't escape it. Chapter 3. Late at night. The doorbell woke me again. Joel leaned against the doorframe drunkenly, his tie hanging loosely around his neck. I checked my phone. In the muted chat window, unread messages had piled up to 99 plus. It seemed he couldn't reach me, so he came directly. A year ago, I would definitely have been flattered that he came home drunk. Then I would have hurried to help him inside, serving tea and water, busy the whole night. But now, my freshly washed hair smelled nice and the house was clean. I really didn't want the stench of a drunk man in here. Seeing that I had no intention of letting him in, he asked hoarsely, "You're just going to let me stand here? You came to the wrong place. This is my premarital apartment, not our marital home. I'll call someone to pick you up." As I lowered my head to look for a number, he shamelessly moved closer. "Anna, I want to drink the porridge you make." I took a deep breath, suppressing the faint lingering pain in my heart. "Really? You'll leave after finishing the porridge?" He nodded eagerly. I opened the food delivery app and handed him the phone. "Pick whatever flavor you want yourself." He froze in place, the alcohol seemingly half gone. "Anna, you never let me eat this." He must have remembered that when we first got engaged, I wanted to be a good wife and even hired a cooking aunt to teach me step by step, starting from chopping vegetables. But he never even looked at it, let alone tasted a bite. I secretly posted photos of the meals I carefully prepared on social media. Many mutual friends liked and commented. I thought maybe he would see it and want to come home to try. But all I heard was Joel laughing at the drinking table. "If you had a simp like Anna, you'd think my life is miserable too. Why would I eat the delicacies outside and go back to eat her pig food?" Amid laughter, I ran home and cried for 3 days. Zoe was angry and heartbroken. "My dear princess, you'd rather starve than cook. Why learn cooking for a man? He's partying outside while you ruin yourself." I suddenly woke up. I never cooked again. My cooking isn't good anyway. I pushed the phone toward him again. "Order delivery." He sighed and took the phone, his fingers brushing my palm. His other hand instinctively tried to wrap around my shoulder. I stepped back abruptly, my back hitting the door with a dull thud. In the deathly silence, he lowered his head and lit a cigarette. The flame flickered in the night, illuminating the features I once adored. "Anna, I'm your fiancé, not a virus. Who knows? I stepped back half a step. I'm going to sleep. I have work tomorrow. I don't know when he left. The next day, when I opened the door, the floor was covered with cigarette butts. Chapter 4. On the way to the company, while waiting at a red light. I suddenly remembered the night I proposed the breakup. Joel had once shut me out too, but that time, it was at our marital home. He was inside fooling around with a group of people and locked me outside, even changing the password lock. The cold wind of deep winter cut painfully. I knocked on the door, my hand instinctively protecting my lower abdomen, my voice trembling with tears. Joel, open the door, my stomach hurts. It was the same girl from the hot springs yesterday, speaking to me through the doorbell. The one outside. Joel said the one marrying you is his family. Not him. You should leave. Joel said you need to learn to have boundaries. I froze for a second. Then I slammed the door like a madwoman. The people inside probably found it amusing. They recorded it through the doorbell camera. In the background, the hot spring girl asked sweetly, Joel, she says she feels unwell? His drunken, impatient voice came clearly. Ignore her. She's just pretending to be pitiful. In the video, I looked like a madwoman crying and making a scene, until I finally stopped knocking, dragging my suitcase and disappearing around the corner. This video spread quietly within the circle. Joel only clicked it after being stared at with "you're really a piece of trash" looks all day. He actually didn't think it was a big deal. He was just having fun at home and didn't want her to come in and ruin the mood. It was just that the elders were furious, saying he made things ugly and ignored both families' dignity. So he found me, with a reluctant sense of forced compromise. I didn't know you would leave so late alone. I saw the video. He looked at me as if checking whether I had learned enough from it. Rumors outside say I forced my fiancé onto the streets. Anna, enough. Come back with me. He didn't know what happened in the darkness after that video ended, and I didn't want to explain anymore. I lay in the hospital bed and turned over tiredly. It's not your fault. Later, we seemed to reconcile, but from that day on, I no longer cared where he slept or whether he came home. Quietly, I moved out of the marital home and returned to my premarital apartment. Chapter 5. Saying I don't blame him is a lie. I'm not the reincarnation of Maria. Giving up someone I loved for a very long time felt like ripping another version of myself from my bones and blood. When withdrawal hit, I stayed awake all night, a hollow hole in my chest filled with the cold wind of that winter night. Moreover, the capital of my family and his had long been intertwined. The consequences of forcibly separating were unbearable. I knew better than anyone. Our grievances meant nothing before family interests. Perhaps family pressure scared him. Perhaps he belatedly realized he had gone too far. Joel restrained himself a lot. No more nights away. No more ignoring me. Instead, wherever he went, whatever he did, he reported everything in detail. One day, I was finalizing the core terms of a billion-dollar project, negotiating profit sharing in the final round. The meeting room was silent. All eyes were on my response. His messages popped up non-stop. He had booked a famous wedding dress designer, asking what style I wanted. When I didn't reply, he called again and again. The phone vibration was piercing. The partner said kindly, "Please handle it first. It might be urgent." I smiled politely and excused myself. I held my anger until I reached the restroom, then answered coldly, "What exactly do you want? Why keep asking about such trivial matters? Isn't it annoying? Can't you have some boundaries?" After the scolding, silence filled the phone. I recovered first, rubbing my temples. "Sorry, I've been tired from late nights. Just pick the style." Joel took a long time before replying hoarsely, "Okay." Chapter 6. The car stopped downstairs at Joel's company. I came to integrate resources before returning to my own company to coordinate. In the pantry, I heard colleagues gossiping. "Did you see? Joel came in with that girl again this morning. I noticed long ago. I heard he even left his underwear at her place last time. What kind of behavior is that? Isn't Joel already engaged?" Everyone knows Joel hates Miss Anna the most, always saying he wishes she would disappear. Thanks to Joel never making our relationship public at the company, I, Miss Anna myself, get to hear all this gossip. I lowered my eyes and drank coffee, feeling calm. This little scandal is nothing. They really haven't seen the world. They haven't seen late-night female delivery drivers showing up wearing matching sexy lingerie underneath. They haven't dealt with piles of late-night adult messages in his phone, nor been publicly served tea by random girls at family banquets calling them sister. Joel never refuses outside. I'm the one who cleans up the mess. This underwear left at someone else's house isn't even worth mentioning. I suppressed the urge to go out and say something. When I looked up, the gossip subject stood before me. The girl from the hot spring, clinging to Joel like she had no bones. Joel saw me and frowned, telling her to stand properly. I took another look. She had stayed by his side the longest. The girl pouted and handed me a file. Aren't you the one from Joel's family? I took the file and met her gaze. You're the one in the hot spring wearing a bikini sitting on him. The room instantly fell silent. Her expression changed, biting her lip. Can't you just let Joel go? I waved my hands. Don't drag me into this, little sister. I just want to prepare documents and go abroad. In panic, my voice rose. I used Joel's usual excuse. You call him brother. I call him brother too. What, letting go? Anna. Joel's warning voice came from behind. What nonsense are you talking about? I shook the file and pressed the elevator button. Brother, deal with your own private matters. Don't drag me in. The elevator doors slowly closed, reflecting Joel's dark face and the girl's aggrieved expression. They seemed to be arguing again, but it had nothing to do with me. I looked down at the flight confirmation email. In 24 hours, I would leave. Chapter 7. After partying too late with Zoe, I forced myself to attend Joel's grandfather's banquet the next day. I placed the prepared gifts on the table. The first was a jade ruby, wishing him good fortune. The second was the jade bracelet he gave me at our engagement. Today I returned it. The meaning was obvious. I stood behind his grandfather and massaged his shoulders. Grandpa, please approve my request to cancel the engagement. He panicked. Did that boy force you again? I shook my head firmly. It's my decision. My feelings are gone. This engagement is meaningless. I will handle the UK project well and protect both families' interests. Grandpa looked at the bracelet and sighed. My family failed you, he added after a pause. You will take full charge of the UK project. We'll also give you 5% more profit personally. Thank you, Grandpa. I smiled and accepted. I deserved it. With 2 hours before the flight, I served tea and left early. When the car started, I looked back one last time. Joel and I grew up here together. Now the show is over, and I leave alone. At the corner, Joel's car drove in. The hot spring girl sat beside him. We passed each other. Joel, may you get what you want, and may my future be boundless. Chapter 8. Joel hurried to the banquet hall but could not find that familiar figure. He leaned toward his grandfather and tested calmly. What did Anna bring? Grandfather played with the jade ruby. He pushed another brocade box over. Inside lay a lonely jade bracelet. The treasure she cherished had been returned by her own hand. Joel felt uneasy. Where is she? Grandfather sipped tea calmly. She left. She said she was willing to set you free. The engagement is cancelled. Grandfather glanced at the hot spring girl. You should be happy now. Joel stood frozen. His first reaction was overwhelming exhaustion. He remembered his clumsy changes, looking for her even when drunk, learning to cook, choosing wedding dress styles. He had compromised so much, yet she was still making trouble. Anger surged. With Anna's personality, she was probably flying to the UK now. So he texted Zoe. Is it fun to toy with me? Watching me act like an idiot changing for her, are you satisfied? Zoe didn't reply. She sent a surveillance video from a convenience store near the marital home. In the blurry footage, Anna walked in a daze, unaware of the staggering figure behind. The man suddenly pounced, grabbed her hair, and dragged her into the bushes. Anna struggled desperately, crying, "Please let go, my stomach hurts." A passerby screamed, "Call the police! That lunatic is attacking a woman again." Anna lay on the ground. She kept opening her phone. Blood foamed from her mouth. "Joel, answer, please, save me." The last frame showed dark liquid spreading beneath her. She lay there motionless. What was he doing then? He was in the warm marital home, drinking with another girl, rejecting Anna's calls while saying, "Ignore her, she's pretending." The video ended. Joel's face lost all color. He opened his mouth but made no sound. Now he understood her cold indifference. Chapter 9. After Anna left, Joel still indulged in pleasure and nightlife. He went out with all kinds of beauties and played harder than anyone. Everyone said he was freer without Anna. Only Joel knew he was a coward. He didn't dare go find her. He secretly registered countless fake accounts. Day and night, he refreshed her updates. Across the cold screen, he watched her laugh by the Thames, the wind lifting her hair. She was like a pearl wiped clean of dust. After leaving him, she was no longer confined to the kitchen and love, and she shone brightly. This made him unwilling, and strangely uneasy. He was slowly disappearing from her life, and she didn't care. One day, a girl dressed like Anna climbed into his bed. In the dim light, he almost felt tempted, but at the same time, the image of her desperately knocking, the pool of blood, the child they lost flooded his mind. He realized he was trapped in memories, loving the same person again and again. He told the girl to get out. He lit a cigarette and picked up his phone. The algorithm pushed a video Anna liked to his homepage. He opened the comments. He saw her comment, "Will someone really remember the heartbeat of 17 forever?" Chapter 10. Joel blew out a smoke ring. She must regret leaving impulsively. He almost immediately believed this. Otherwise, why mention 17? That time belonged only to them. Anna was always called a silly girl, always chasing Joel. He often slipped away from suffocating family banquets, sneaking into the dusty piano room. The melody under his fingers was called worthless by elders. Anna would follow quietly and smile, asking him to play again. Her smiling eyes hooked his heart. He once thought they would live forever in bright summers, but reality came like a tide. Their secret world drowned. Her love became equal to family responsibility and marriage value. He tried to escape and hurt her, but what she gave him was never shackles. It was her heart. He crushed the cigarette, but couldn't crush the ache in his chest. He didn't hesitate. In the 4th month after she left, he booked the earliest flight to her. Chapter 11. Downstairs of the branch office, I saw Joel. He was carrying several supermarket bags filled with vegetables and hot pot soup base. It looked completely out of place with his usual carefree aura. He walked beside me naturally, as if we had never had heart-wrenching fights. Joel casually asked, "Are you used to life here?" I looked at my phone. It's okay. The Chinese food here isn't authentic. He shook the bags. "I'll cook hot pot for you." "No need." I didn't even look up. "Someone cooks at home." He frowned. "You hired a housekeeper?" "Some overseas Chinese cheat their own people." "You're too naive. Don't get scammed." I paused my typing, looked at him, and suddenly found it funny. "You sound just like my boyfriend." Before he could react, I turned my phone screen to him. A table full of delicious dishes, all my favorite flavors. I waved the phone. He said live-in maids aren't safe, so he cooks himself. Joel's breathing stalled. "Anna." His voice tightened. "You don't have to find someone just to make me jealous." I looked at him in confusion. "Why would I try to make you jealous?" Downstairs of the apartment, he was still nagging behind me. I didn't take out my keys and rang the doorbell. The door opened. A tall man stood inside wearing a white t-shirt and a loose apron. He held a cup of brown sugar egg drink and paused when he saw Joel. "Anna, do we have a guest?" I stepped inside and drank from his hand. All Joel's prepared words died in his throat. His Anna, in another man's arms, looking at him like a stranger, calling him Joel, a long unseen ordinary friend. Chapter 12. Joel started working at the branch. No one had any objections. He represented the family, which was only natural. I just moved to the 2nd floor, too lazy to deal with him. In the office, I was reviewing some reports. Joel brewed a cup of peanut sesame tea and placed it on my desk. The same old routine again, as if pretending nothing happened could erase everything. He was like an ostrich, ignoring reality and caring only about his own feelings. When he liked me, he would praise even the street food he hated. When he despised me, he would humiliate me in public. The whole world had to revolve around him. I kept reading the documents. He tried to make small talk. "Anna, peanuts or green beans?" "Yes." "Leave this project to someone else. Go home and lie down and collect money." No way. That cook from yesterday wasn't reliable. I fired him for you. I paused and answered seriously. He's very good. My boyfriend is truly very good. We met on a miserable rainy day. My car broke down on the highway. The tow truck would take 2 hours. His car stopped behind mine and he came to ask if I was okay. Not overly enthusiastic, he just helped confirm the rescue process and opened the car door. The rain is heavy. If you don't mind, you can wait in my car. He kept a comfortable distance the entire time. The organizer was urging me. I offered a generous payment and asked if he could drive me there. He glanced at the navigation and laughed. If you're going there, we can go together. We didn't even exchange contacts when we got off. 5 minutes later, we met again at an industry summit. He was the keynote speaker. I was the bidder asking questions. In 15 minutes, he grasped the core value of my proposal and clarified the implementation. We looked at each other amid applause. Sometimes fate makes you desperately want to approach someone. Marco was that kind of person. He could corner opponents at the negotiation table and cook authentic Hunan cuisine for me. What he gave was care within boundaries and respect beyond them. When I was entangled with Joel, I thought love was painful. After leaving him, I realized it wasn't raining outside at all. Adult love doesn't need hysterical proof or interrogation. My eyes lit up when I spoke of Marco. Joel finally snapped and pressed his hand on my report. What must I do for you to go back to the past? I pulled my hand back and looked at him seriously. The past? Which past? 5? 15? Or when you rotted at 25? Which past do you mean? I picked up the report and walked to the door, pausing at the handle. Joel, life is a flowing river. If you can't stay pure like you were at 18, why expect me to stay still and be a fool? The door closed behind me. Joel stood frozen. It felt like punching cotton. He kept cherishing the past, but she had discarded it completely. Chapter 13. I hired Marco as the company's technical consultant. His and his team's professional ability is obvious to everyone. He deserves it. But Joel wasn't happy. He kept doing ridiculous things. When Marco and I discussed plans, he would squeeze into the meeting room and interrupt again and again. In meetings, he would suddenly hand me a box of ibuprofen and loudly say in front of Marco, "Your period is coming, right? You always have cramps," while feeling annoyed. Every single thing triggered memories, creating an embarrassing comparison, reflecting my past self, reminding me again and again that the version of me who desperately tried to squeeze into his world was ugly and suffocating. You see, people can't even empathize with their past selves. One day, Marco and I were taking a short break on the terrace. After intense work, the project made major progress, and we both felt relieved. Joel followed again, holding a report full of errors, insisting I read it. Marco only glanced at the first page and said to Joel, "There are 3 basic data errors on this page. Joel, I suggest you have it reviewed before submitting." Marco was clearly being professional, but Joel reacted as if slapped. His face turned pale. All the suppressed anger surged up. "Consultant," Joel laughed. "Feels good to rise by pleasing women, doesn't it?" Marco looked at him calmly. "If you have questions about the project, we can discuss them inside. Cut the act." Joel suddenly raised his voice, drawing attention from colleagues nearby. "You know very well, without Anna, you wouldn't even get through the door." Marco nodded slightly. "I don't deny that. Anna knows how to recognize talent, and my team's ability matches. What's the problem?" Joel sneered and stepped closer. With malicious recklessness, he said, "No problem. But do you know she was once engaged to me? Do you know she lost a child for me? Between us, there is a past you will never be able to enter." Chapter 14. When Joel finished speaking, a buzzing filled my ears. It felt like returning to that winter night. The biting cold wind, the tightly shut door, the warmth spreading beneath me, all the deliberately forgotten details, wrapped in overwhelming helplessness, drowned me. I looked at Joel's twisted face, and suddenly felt nauseous. He so easily chose my deepest pain as a weapon to attack another man. The boy who smiled at me in the piano room, who shared a fried sausage with me, who waited for me outside the classroom when I was on duty. All those heart-fluttering memories. At this moment, he shattered them with his own hands. The boy's face overlapped with the man before me, But I could no longer connect the two. My chest filled with sharp suffocation, and I began to breathe as my therapist taught me. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Oxygen slowly filled my chest, giving my curled, aching heart space to breathe. Marco covered my trembling hand. There was no shock or retreat in his eyes. As Joel expected, he only said clearly, "That was your fault, not hers. You treat it as gossip. To me, it's a reason she deserves to be protected." Chapter 15. I took leave and stayed home. Marco spoke to me carefully. I never intended to hide this past, but having it exposed this way made me embarrassed. I thought I had already become calm, but that calm depended on no one mentioning it. Once torn open in public, it collapsed instantly. I hate this uncontrolled weakness. It snowed again. I curled up on the sofa, dragged back to that winter night again and again. Marco said there was a great ski resort. I let him help me change into ski gear and pull me to the slopes. Sitting on the cable car, the wind roared. Marco said, "If you feel cold, we can go back." I listened blankly. I had already assumed this was where we would end. Standing at the top of the slope, overlooking the vast snowfield, Marco skied down and shouted from the gentle slope, "Anna, you were a champion, show me." I snapped back, surprised. How did he know? But I hadn't skied in a long time. Joel didn't like it. He said it was a dangerous sport and preferred hot springs. My heart itched. I wanted to try. The moment I rushed down the slope, it was long-lost freedom. The cold wind cut across my face, slicing away sticky worries again and again. I skied again and again, tireless. Marco followed with a camera, always keeping a comfortable distance, until I finally stopped at the bottom. Gasping, he skied beside me and showed me the camera. In the footage, I leapt across the snow. "Anna, look, you were meant to fly. That winter didn't kill you. It only made you hibernate. Now, don't go back." I looked up. Tears fell inside my goggles. So this is how many tears it takes to become calm. Now, they seem finally gone. Let's move forward. Chapter 16. That day, I told Marco everything. I neither exaggerated nor avoided details. He listened silently, only touched my head. "You've been through a lot." I gathered myself and returned to work. Joel grew increasingly unable to understand Marco and me moving in and out together. He stopped me, his voice strained. "Anna, that day I didn't mean to." I looked at him calmly. "Thank you for saying it out loud. It allowed me to step out of false numbness, to bravely pass through the emotional backlash, to experience, to feel, to release, to reach true calm after letting go." The panic in Joel's eyes was almost overflowing. He asked me to meet that evening at a trendy restaurant, saying we needed to talk. Coincidentally, Marco was treating the team there too. After a few drinks, the atmosphere warmed. Colleagues teased Marco. Marco smiled and stood up, taking out a ring. "Anna, after the project ends, want to get married?" Everyone started cheering. I finally realized this wasn't just a dinner. Meanwhile, a waiter pushed Joel's elaborate wedding gown through the restaurant. Joel followed in a suit. The train stopped before me, and on my ring finger, there was already another ring. Joel's expression cracked. He could no longer maintain composure. Chapter 17. That night, he appeared drunk outside my apartment, pressing the doorbell repeatedly. "Anna!" he shouted. "Didn't you ask whether someone would always remember their first love at 17? I was confused. I opened the door. Night wind mixed with alcohol rushed in. "When did I ask you that?" He hurriedly showed me his phone. It was my comment under a movie trailer. Would someone always remember their first love at 17? I had already answered that question in my heart. No. Otherwise, how would Joel and I end up hating each other? Seeing him like this reminded me of the past. When he ignored me, I used to obsessively check his updates, trying to guess his thoughts. He frowned and blocked me one by one. "Can you stop acting crazy? Is spying fun?" Looking at him now, fate is ironic. It turned him into the person he once despised. I smiled. "It was just a comment. What does it have to do with you?" The light in his eyes faded. He pleaded, "Anna, please, can you tell me again that no matter what I become, You will love me? Marco looked at me with concern. I shut the door. Ignore him. He's just pretending to be pitiful. The doorbell rang a few more times, then fell silent. I curled up on the sofa with Marco and zoomed in on the map. Forget that. It's snow season in Switzerland. Chapter 18. Marco and I decided to return home to hold our wedding. Zoe took the bouquet. She winked at Marco with a grin. So you really managed to win her over. How come I, the matchmaker, didn't get a big red envelope? Marco actually scratched his head. His calm and steady aura instantly disappeared, like a young boy caught red-handed. I looked at Zoe in surprise. She pulled me aside and lowered her voice. This guy has been eyeing you for a long time. He was 1 year above us and chased you for ages. But back then you only had eyes for Joel. So all the snacks he gave ended up in my stomach. After you broke up, he kept asking me indirectly whether you were doing okay. You fell into Joel's pit. How could you be okay? So when you went to London, I accidentally told him your whereabouts, thinking someone there could look out for you. I froze suddenly. A blurry figure in my memory slowly became clear. Marco walked over and wrapped an arm around me, the tips of his ears red. I almost thought I'd spend my whole life guarding this tiny hope. He lowered his head to look at me. Luckily, in the end, I still got to wait for you. Chapter 19. After that night, Joel disappeared for a long time. The next time I heard about him was in social news. A Chinese man collapsed drunk in the snow at night and almost died of hypothermia. His life was saved, but his soul was gone. He didn't argue or make noise, he just stared out the window all day, his eyes frighteningly empty. He held a wedding dress all day, muttering, I lost Anna. His family finally gave up completely. They took Joel home and adopted a smart child from a collateral branch. They finally gave Joel the freedom he had always dreamed of. He could play music, wander the world, and no one would control him anymore. But he felt it was utterly meaningless. One day, he heard that a shop in Akihabara had opened that could customize dolls. He walked in. He took out a photo. The wedding photo of Anna and Marco had been brutally cut. Only the part where Anna was smiling remained. Using this incomplete single photo, he customized a life-size doll. Then he carefully dressed the silent, unmoving Anna in that heavy wedding dress that had already grown somewhat dirty. From then on, he drove an RV, traveling with his bride, putting a straw hat on the doll by the sea, reserving a seat for the doll in restaurants. The last time he was seen was at a ski resort in Hokkaido. He drank all the alcohol in the vehicle, holding his bride. He walked into the midnight blizzard. When the staff found him, he was tightly hugging the doll in the wedding dress, with a faint satisfied smile at the corner of his lips. The police found a diary in his RV. It was filled entirely with repeated I'm sorry. On the last page, there was only one line. Now, we can finally be together forever.